It's not that I hate moving, I hate baggage. And once I bring all the stuff back over to the new place, it's like it all followed me here. It's like, oh, I moved to this new place to get away from you. Hello and welcome to another episode of But First, Hydrate. I'm wondering if we could call that the show. There were a lot of votes to call it By the Water Cooler or something about a water cooler, but I actually don't know a lot about water coolers, and I don't actually have a water cooler in my office, so I felt like that might be a bit fake of me to use a title about an object that I don't actually have really in my daily life. And as you know, this is a bit like the While I'm Making Coffee series, but a little bit shorter and a little bit more frequent. This is more like content for a more regular show, and so I'm using water so I don't have to have as much preparation. I had all these excuses not to make While I'm Making Coffee videos, but if it's water, no excuse, right? I just put water in the canister and I'm technically ready to start shooting. So here we go. The reason I'm actually shooting this, like, it's not even daytime anymore, it's quite late at night, is because I've just spent the whole day moving house. And actually I've been moving house slowly over the past few weeks. I kept thinking to myself over the past few weeks, I hate moving. I hate moving. Why do I keep doing this? I absolutely hate moving. Why would anyone be crazy enough to do this? Moving house is the stupidest thing that anyone can do. And now that I have finished it and I'm surrounded by my boxes in my office right now, just looking at all the stuff that I've accumulated. I've got multiple drawing tablets, I've got art supplies, I've got drawing, I said drawing tablets again. That's how many drawing tablets I had. I've got drawing tablets there, and then I saw one here, and I was like, I've got game capture devices, monitors, laptops, gaming consoles, arcade sticks, tons of arcade sticks, tripods, books on how to draw, and just books and stuff that I bought from events of artists that I liked. I've got so much stuff, and so it finally occurred to me, now that I'm relaxing in my office after a full day of filling up a van full of stuff, driving for hours to a new place, getting there and putting all this stuff in, and so it takes forever to get stuff out of a house and into the car, and then it takes forever to get that stuff out of the car and back into the house. I haven't even put it on the shelves yet. I realized it's not actually that I hate moving. In fact, the reason I have to keep going through this process is that I love moving. In fact, I would say that it probably defines my entire state of being, in that I can't really think straight. I can't really come up with ideas, or rather, as soon as I sit still for too long, I begin to instantly stagnate, and everything creative that would normally be going through in my mind just comes to a full standstill, and I start to feel like I don't like what I'm doing, even if actually there are moments when I'm doing what I do, the work that I'm doing or the games that I'm playing, where I'm constantly like, I love this is the best thing ever, and at the end of every single day I can still go, why am I doing this? I don't know why I'm doing this. And it comes from being unable to sit still. I don't really want to blame anyone or anything for it, but I moved around a lot as a kid. I lived in England, I lived in America, I lived in Northern Ireland, now I'm living in Japan, moved around quite a lot. I think it just became part of my being. I started to think that if I'm not moving, then something's wrong. And, well, I'm slowly coming to terms with it. I'm starting to realize that I can kind of settle down in a single place for a longer period of time, and it's not too bad, but I instantly want to get up and go and move around a lot. And so it's actually not that I hate moving, and it's not even really the case that I hate the process of moving. It's actually kind of fun, booking a van and thinking about a new place to go, and it's all very exciting. In fact, I love the idea of constant change in my life. What I hate is that when I move into the new apartment and it's completely clear and empty, it's such a good feeling. It's like, wow, it feels so good to have a weight off my shoulders, but then you have to go back to the old apartment eventually, get all your stuff and move it over, and you're like, oh, surrounded by all this luggage and baggage that I don't need, and that's exactly what it is. It's not that I hate moving, I hate baggage. And once I bring all the stuff back over to the new place, it's like it all followed me here. It's like, oh, I moved to this new place to get away from you, and here you are, following me everywhere that I go. And so, for example, This is something that you may have seen in a previous video of mine. This is a machine, and I have to admit, this is one of my favorite things that I've ever purchased in my whole life. This tool, it looks really, really simple compared to a piano, which has like up to 88 keys most of the time. This device only has 16 pads. All these other buttons, they're like shortcut keys, but they're not even really the most important part of it. The most important part of this tool is these 16 buttons, and usually you'll set up a drum kit. So you'll have like a hi-hat, a bass drum, and a snare. And of course, sometimes they're not hi-hats, sometimes they're, I don't know, maracas. Anyway, I loved this thing to bits, and I actually used it quite a lot. I used it so much that I thought that I would need this. This is the Ableton Push. Instead of 16 pads, it has 16, 16, 16, 16, so that's 64 pads. Way more pads, so surely I'm gonna compose way more music. Guess what actually happened? Of course, I didn't use it that much. I've used this maybe 5 or 6 times in the past 3 years? 4 years? It might be coming up to 4 years now. That's not many times for a device that costs like, I can't remember, it was like £400? The point I'm trying to make is that I actually don't hate moving, and I imagine that a lot of you who also move, because I'm sure that a lot of people feel this way all the time. I hate moving. It probably isn't that you hate moving. If you're anything like I am, you probably love moving, which is why you keep doing it, because you're looking for fresh experiences, you're going to new places, seeing new sights, doing new jobs, trying new tasks, experiencing new communities, playing new games, and discovering new stuff to share with people. It's really exciting. But every time you do move, it becomes very clear how much you've accumulated in baggage. And it's really important not to carry, in my opinion, it's really important not to carry that baggage everywhere you go, because that baggage transfers onto the people around you, and you end up just being baggage to other people. And they're like, every time I meet you, you end up moaning about the same stuff that you've always been moaning about. Or it's even actually, people don't even say it to me, it's just that's constantly going on in my head. I'm like always moaning about the same stuff, and I'm always apologizing. I'm so sorry, I always moan about the same stuff, and they're always like, no, it's fine. But I know in my mind, it's like, it's not fine. You become baggage to other people, and I don't want to be baggage to other people. And I think the first step to not becoming baggage to other people and myself is to get rid of my own baggage. And it's really difficult, because I love to hoard. I hoard stuff. That's how you end up, this is how you end up with a YouTube channel, is if you hoard enough stuff, you end up having plenty of content to make all the time. You can pick up anything off a shelf and make a video that day, because you've got so much stuff. But it's proportional. The amount of baggage that you carry around with you, the more difficult it becomes to move anywhere, to the point that you eventually, instead of being able to move easily because you've got one laptop, one games console, and one controller, because you've got like 5 laptops, 8 controllers, and about 15 different games consoles, you can't move anywhere. And instead of moving properly, you just bolt. You move to a new place, and you just wish that all your old luggage would just burn and explode somewhere. But of course, it's kind of irresponsible to just leave it there and let it burn, and people would probably come after you eventually and be like, yo, you left all your luggage at the apartment, you gotta come and clean this up. So I'm looking at these guitars that I own, I'm looking at these monitors that I own, I'm looking at these musical tools that I own that I don't even use. And even if I could start using them more, the truth is, when I look back at the number of years that I have gone in the past 5 years, out of the past 5 years, how many times have I used this device? And if I look at it and go, I don't use it that often, I've used it like twice in 5 years, it's probably safe to get rid of it. And that's only like damage control. I think actually what I really need to do is get into a habit of, when new stuff comes in, making sure that I actually get rid of the old stuff. Now, this isn't to say that this is something you have to do or should do, because actually, if you do have a really big house and you can afford to hoard a lot of stuff, it actually does make your life easier when you need to make content because you didn't sell that thing that you actually do kind of need. So I'm not saying that you should sell everything and never own anything, because actually it can be really, really helpful. A lot of jobs I've been able to do were because I still owned something. Like old Game Boys. I was able to mod like an old Game Boy because I still had the original DMG-01 Game Boy. I could mod it into a musical device and I was able to make a video out of that. Plus I was able to write some music using it. Opportunities, it's difficult to know where the next opportunity is going to be, but at the same time I have to balance it with mobility, and right now I feel like I have no mobility because I have so much baggage, and I would much rather be able to say, look, I don't have that much stuff. I could actually pick up and go off to this new opportunity on the other side of Japan, move house, start a new job, and it would be that easy. But the current state, even if someone offered me a job on the other side of Japan, I'd be like, I gotta think about it. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff and I've got a lot of contracts, and I would like to just reduce the number of contracts I have, reduce the number of items that I own, and reduce baggage that follows me around everywhere, because I don't need all this stuff. When it comes down to it, most of the time I'm playing Street Fighter with an arcade stick in front of a screen. So does that mean, do I really need 5 monitors and 7 computers and 15 arcade sticks? And I'm not gonna throw it all away. It's just, today was moving day, and so it's all in my head, and right now, visually in my room, all of my stuff is like, yo, we're still here, you forgot about us. So that actually lasted a lot longer than I was expecting. Essentially, I just wanted to get it off my head because I feel like a lot of people must go through this, and I think it really is important that you don't mistake the idea that you hate moving with the idea of hating baggage. Because personally, it's not hate so much, but it's this baggage does reduce my mobility, and I get confused into thinking that I don't like going new places and doing new things. It's actually, I've just made it much more difficult for myself to move to new places and do new things, because baggage follows me everywhere, and soon I'm baggage that follows other people everywhere else. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share the links and all that good stuff. And do let me know other stuff that you'd like to hear about and talk about in this series. But first, hydrate, whatever I can't remember what I called it at the start. Let's see if that catches on. Water. It's trending.